What is the real difference between using BNPL and a credit card?
Yes, great question. Obviously, I'm a bit of a BNPL fan, have been called the grandmother of BNPL in this country. And I'm proud to say, I think we designed a BNPL product that is actually fair and generally good for customers. And I can give you some examples of how it benefited customers. BNPL typically is a one-time small ticket loan that gives you, again, a way to spread the cost of something over a number of installments with predictability and with that confidence that you can make that payment every month versus a credit card where there's always that temptation to either add on more spending or roll previous spending, i.e. not make the monthly repayments, right?
So you're saying BNPL is more fixed towards a certain
One transaction.
Split
the cost. So what it does is sort of take some of that self-control out of the mix. The BNPL provider will tell you every month what you have to pay to repay for the product you bought a few months ago. And that's great. Again, if used sensibly, it's a brilliant product.
You'll have notifications on the app.
Exactly. They'll teach you how to pay on time. Most BNPL providers are actually not banks, interestingly. They're often fintechs, NBFCs, or they work with an e-commerce company. And interestingly, the margins in BNPL are quite thin. And it's actually quite expensive for the BNPL company if you mess up. So they're often quite good at reminding you to pay on time. So that's why I like BNPL. It can be a great product for somebody new to credit, somebody learning about repayments and practicing repayments.
Why is it more expensive? Because that sounds like the opposite of what we said for banks.
Yeah. Well, one thing, the BNPL company does get paid by the merchant or the distributor in every case. So if you use it on a food ordering app, the food ordering company is actually paying all the costs to the BNPL company. Similarly, I'm sure you've seen when you go and buy a new phone today, there'll be a zero-cost EMI. Zero-cost EMI and BNPL can sometimes be used interchangeably. Mm-hmm. And a zero-cost EMI on a phone is not zero cost to the phone manufacturer.
Right.
The phone manufacturer is paying the EMI or BNPL company sometimes up to 20% of the cost of the phone, which is quite
it's
staggering.
Like a discount.
Exactly.
Being passed on to...
Correct.
Right.
They could give you a discount or they can pay the BNPL company and you get that spreading of your payments. So generally, BNPL is good and normally the zero cost is correct. It isn't actually any additional cost to you unless, again, you make a mistake or mess up. Where I think it gets a bit troublesome is when it becomes too easy. And I think there are two scenarios. One is what we call loan stacking. So you've had a BNPL product on your phone, or maybe you used it on a food ordering app, and it was easy, and you paid it back on time, and it cost you nothing. And you think, this is great. So then you repeat the behavior on your next transaction, your next transaction, your next transaction. And we all know people that do this. They could have 12, 13, 14 BNPL outstanding. That is not
on
a
different
good
apps.
Situation. Exactly.
Not on the same app.
On different apps. It's very unlikely the same app would give you multiple loans, but you could have it across. Now that leads to a lot of complexity in your life. Often the due date where the repayment goes is different. So you're going to get shocked some days because money will have disappeared from your bank account. It's just hard to keep track of. So I'm very against this idea of loan stacking. If you use BNPL, try and stick to one place where you do it and one repayment date for all your EMIs. Then it's just easier to manage. That's one thing.
So don't take more than one BNPL
Correct.
loan.
Another issue we have seen, and I'll be very honest about this because it's a shame because it was my industry and it makes me sad when there are bad actors in the industry. But there were bad actors, and there are, who will induce you into taking a BNPL, even if you didn't want it, and somewhat illegally, to be honest. The systems have not been set up properly. They might not be doing KYC. You could just end up stuck in a loan that you weren't even aware was a loan. Now, there's been many situations I've seen in the...
Can you give me an example?
So right now, a lot of what I do is work with customers to fix their credit scores and clean up the kind of mess they got into by taking too many loans.
That's your current business.
That's my current business.
Yes.
And we'll look at somebody's credit report and we'll say to them, do you realize you have 12 trade lines? Trade line is the word that credit bureaus use for loan. We say, you realize there are 12 loans outstanding? And he says, no way, I've got 2 credit cards, personal loan, and I did do this BNPL once, but that's it. And then we go through it and we say, wait a minute, one is for 450 rupees a year ago, and it looks like it was on a food ordering app or something like that. Wow. And he genuinely had no idea that that was a BNPL. He didn't get repayment reminders, went into default on that, and that has been recorded in the bureau as a default. And unfortunately, the algorithm that the bureaus use is not public. We will never know. And so we can't work out whether that 400 rupee loan has wiped off 200 points of his credit score or 10 points. It's actually very hard to calculate. So it's not worth getting into that situation.
So basically, I'm on an app ordering some food.
Yeah.
And it's just some button comes up rather than pay. Next to the pay button is some button, for example, saying, some free thing or whatever. Yeah. And I just click that. I don't even know what it is because it's like it's 500 rupees. So I don't really want that loan. And the order gets processed and the food comes to me. But somewhere a loan is set up in my name.
Correct.
And it accumulates over time. Yeah. And before I know it, it's multiplied, and B, it's destroyed my credit score.
It can very well happen. This is a very common phenomenon at the moment. We have situations where a customer has come to us and said, I just applied for a job in a bank, and they pulled my credit report, and they said I have a bad credit score. But that doesn't make any sense because I don't use credit. I don't have a credit card. I haven't taken any loans. And then we pull the credit score and we discover that there were 2 small transactions 2 years ago on a payments app that they had no idea were being recorded as trade lines. So it's a really, really frightening phenomenon. And I would actually say to everybody, irrespective of whether you think you are using credit at this moment, check your credit score. It's free to do. You can download what's called a consumer credit report on many, many websites and apps. People like Bank Bazaar, Pesa Bazaar, Good Score. There's many, many, many in the market today. Mostly it's free. Or maybe you'll pay like $40 max, and just check what is on there. You will be shocked. A significant percentage of people who were not aware that they had taken credit, unfortunately, do have because of some of these BNPL products.